Hello, I'm Galen, and this is Matthew chapter 3, and today is January the 4th. And so, in my studies on Matthew chapter 3, it was a very good read, actually. I really enjoyed it. It talked about John the Baptist and Jesus coming to John the Baptist to get baptized. Um, it was pretty interesting how when you compare the two people, Jesus and John the Baptist, how they're similar in a way, and they're a little bit different in a big way as well. Jesus came from Nazareth, which he was. I wouldn't call him a city boy, but he was doing what carpenters do and families and stuff. Where John the Baptist was, he was kind of like from the wilderness. I mean, he was wearing sackcloth and kind of rejected a lot of stuff. He was eating honey and locusts and, kind of like a rebel, I guess. And it kind of rejected a lot of stuff, like what was going on with Pharisees and stuff like that, where they're all about themselves and about making themselves look bigger amongst the community. And he kind of rejected all that. But his calling was to baptize, and which was unique, and it was to baptize with or for repentance. And so when you think about it, that was the thing I really started thinking about. Why did Jesus get baptized? I mean, why would he have to be baptized if he's without sin? And so, but John the Baptist actually questioned that as well. So when Jesus went to get baptized, he was like, I'm not worthy to baptize you. Why am I baptizing you? And they kind of argued a little bit about it, and Jesus was like, "You need to do it to fulfill the word. It's part of the process." And so I thinking about it, it's like, what is that process? I started really thinking about why would Jesus have to be baptized? Was it for his father's sin? Because it is for repentance, and the sin of Adam and that lineage. And I don't think so. I really don't think that's what it was. And then it was like, well, maybe he's getting baptized to point out John the Baptist, and to seal that deal so that he is recognized as the Messiah, and maybe a little bit, but he obviously wasn't baptized for his own sin. So then maybe he was doing it to start his ministry, and that kind of makes sense. I think I've heard that before, and I think there's a little bit to that. But really thinking about it, I think that he was baptized for sin, as a repentance, and it wasn't for him. It was for us. I think he was baptized for us. I think he was baptized. He was the Lamb. He was preparing himself for a 3-year ministry, and at the end he was going to go to a cross and he was going to die. I think that's why he was baptized. I think it was that part of that. It wasn't for him. It was for us. He took on our sin. That's what it is. It has to be. That's what it is. Jesus was baptized for us. So that's what I came out of this chapter. And so Matthew chapter 3. It's pretty good chapter. But you kind of wonder a little bit. You kind of try to read between the lines. I do. And it's kind of interesting. I wonder if they got together like cousins and stuff when they were younger, Elizabeth and Mary. I mean, obviously they got together when they were in the womb, because John leaped inside the womb when Jesus came around. So even as a baby inside the womb, he was identifying that Jesus was the King of Kings. But you just kind of wonder. You wonder if they got together and talked about it or whatnot. They obviously knew what to do when they got to the point where it was time to do that. And the other thing that they had very comparable is they both ended up dying by the system. And John called it out. He called out a sexual sin that the king had, and You know, we all know the story about the the daughter who wanted his head and they ended up cutting his head off. But would people call out the sexual sin today? Probably not. Most Christians I see are kind of going with it. You know, they don't want to be that wild man in the wilderness calling it out. And so it is kind of interesting where Jesus didn't really call things out like that I can see. It's more he was there to forgive, you know, and so it is interesting. It was a good read. So I'm trying to reduce this down to closer to 5 minutes because I think 15 and 20 minutes is just a little bit too long. So I'm sure everybody's going to appreciate that. But anyhow, I'm looking forward to getting back to Matthew chapter 4, which is tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Thanks.